Hey everybody.
Hey guys.
Welcome to Pass Us Podcast. I'm your host, That Dutch Geek.
I'm your other host, Study33, and I feel like my lighting's a little bright.
That's all right. It looks good to me. I don't know.
Yeah. It's been a fucking wild week, huh?
Has it? I feel like time has been weird this week.
Time's been weird since the start of Corona.
Yeah, but this week
say that much. Time's been
like,
fucking weird. This week especially, it's like you're like, what day is it?
Yeah.
What day is it?
I hopped on WoW this afternoon with Jake and Anton. And I blinked and it was 5 hours later and I was like, what happened? Hello?
Yeah, what the fuck?
But yeah.
The real, I mean, the one thing that really distorted time for me was the release of Shadowlands.
Dude, absolutely.
Got me fucked up. Like that day and night and then the following day was very strange.
Yeah, the
it
first
felt like
couple
one
days,
long
bro,
day.
I had to recover like 2 days because of that one long night we pulled on Shadowlands.
Yeah.
We were so boofed. Like, not the day after, but the day after that, we were so boofed, bro. I felt bad for Maddie in voice with us because he had to deal with us two being
He was
idiots.
fucked as well, though.
Yeah, he was super
fucked
tired
as well.
Imagine
like
waking
we
up
were
for a
all
haircut.
just off our fucking rockers, dude.
Waking up for a haircut and then not getting a haircut because you misplanned the fucking haircut appointments. Good job, Maddie.
Yeah.
If you're listening.
Yeah, I mean, because that was like the whole time he was like, yeah, I've got a haircut tomorrow. But I think I'll probably get some sleep beforehand. And I was like, yeah, sure, man. Because obviously, we usually start the podcast saying like, oh, how's your week been?
I mean, yeah, my week's been good. It's been World of Warcraft Shadowlands all week. That's been
great.
That's been the week.
Right.
It's been great.
So I mean, I guess there's not really much else to talk about.
No, we've been hyping up
Thanksgiving, which neither of us celebrate.
No, I mean, we've been hyping up Shadowlands for weeks now on the podcast, and this Monday at midnight, technically Tuesday for me, I guess, it was finally time. And I have not played a single other game since. It has been such a good time. I've been leveling my first character, making YouTube videos in the meantime. I finally got to max and I'm ready to like gear up for the raid and doing all the end game shit, Covenant campaign, all that good shit. And it is such a good time. It is such a good time.
Yeah, I mean, we knew in the build up, like when Shadowlands comes out, that's gonna be the life.
Yeah.
From that point, and we weren't wrong. Like you said, we've been hyping it up. We've been hyping it up on the podcast pretty much every week, talking about, because you started doing your little videos about 3 weeks ago.
Yesterday
right?
I checked, and yesterday was exactly 1 month after the first upload. So a month.
Exactly 1 month. So in that month, obviously, like pretty much every week we've checked in because you uploaded a new video, and like usually that new video was gonna be alongside something that Blizzard had put out anyway, so there was more shit to talk about in that vein, whether it was an Afterlives video or I'm trying to think of the most recent thing. Oh, the pre-patch events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that's blown me away, and we keep saying this, is just like the number of people that is aboard like for this fucking ride.
Like Swede, it's funny because Swede just showed up in chat. Like Swede, I've been trying to poach Swede for weeks, right? And he was like, "Nah, I'm not going to give Blizzard more of my money." And then on launch night, he watches us play and he's like, "Okay, dude, I'll cop."
And then he pulled an all fucking nighter on Tuesday
I'm pretty
night.
sure Swede is also just like, Swede got sucked right back into WoW, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, he hit 60 before you did.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Are you sure? Because I know he went balls deep in that all nighter of 58.
Yeah. We hit it on the same day, but I hit it like a few hours before he did.
Oh, okay.
Because I laughed at him. Because I remember this. I know this because I was doing quests in Revendreth, and he randomly shows up and spits me in the face. So I hit him with a level 59 Pepe laugh.
Oh my god, dude. I do want to say, like, and we'll get more into this, but big shout out to the Simps of Azeroth, dude, because our guild is fucking lit.
Yeah, we got, for raiding, I'm a little worried that we might not have enough people.
We will.
But
we have at least 1060s, and in those 1060s are
2 tanks.
Oh, maybe not
a
enough
handful
healers,
of
but we have 2
healers.
tanks, two healers, and a bunch of DPS.
Yeah. So like, but you know, we're gonna. It's gonna be such a good time. Like, it's exciting. I was a little behind you guys because I prioritized getting all the lore on me and sucking that in and really taking my time with the quests and stuff because I have YouTube to think about. New video in that vein went up today, by the way, like a half an hour before podcast. It's basically the lore breakdown of the intro quest line to Shadowlands, you know, into the Maw and trying to rescue Jaina and them and all that stuff.
Since it's been less than a week, we'll try to avoid any Shadowlands spoilers, big story spoilers.
But if you have played Shadowlands and you've just been doing quests and you're wondering like, hey, what the fuck are we actually doing? This is going to be a series that I'm going to be uploading on the YouTube. Not every video is going to be a part of that. Like basically what I'm going to do is, today was part 1 in that series, so the next video will be like a character lore breakdown, and then after that will be part 2 in that series, and so on and so forth, to kind of break it up a little bit. But that's going to be a big fucking series. What?
Instead, I'm just going to say this is a spoiler warning instead for anyone who's playing Shadowlands and doesn't want story spoilers, because there is stuff that I really want to talk about that excited me a lot. Fair. We'll also be talking about dungeons, dungeon mechanics, quest lines, zones, all that good shit. So just I instead of saying no spoilers, I'm just going to say this is a spoiler warning for anyone who doesn't want to hear about any of that shit in Shadowlands in particular, and so we can just get into it.
Oh, dude, and I have a funny little anecdote, bro.
Episode,
funny little anecdote. I told you this before podcast, but I just want to talk about it because it cracked me up.
Yeah.
I'm doing a second playthrough of the Shadowlands campaign to record footage for these YouTube videos that I'm making on my Paladin, Dutch Freak, shout out. And obviously the intro quest line, you take the teleport to Acarus, the Ebonhold, and Darian Mulgrave like escort you to the Frozen Throne, right? So I was RP walking with him because I was recording. I wanted to record footage that I could showcase while I was talking about what was happening on screen, essentially. And this random fucking dude, guildless player, wonder why he doesn't have a guild, because probably nobody likes him, walks up to me and sees me RP walking and just walks up to me, starts jumping in my face. Are you gay? And then he fucked off.
Just the one time?
Just the one time. No, it was, are you gay? And then question mark. It's like a separate message, like question mark.
Good.
And I was like, huh?
I mean, maybe he was just looking for a hookup.
But that shit, I don't know, like it caught me so off guard, and I had a good laugh about that for like 10 minutes after. I was still giggling.
Did you have to abandon the quest and re-record the bit?
No, because I just cut that bit out because there's a lot, like I talk.
Oh, okay.
Basically, like the footage, I recorded the entire thing, but I kind of like cuts between pieces because like I only really showcase what I'm talking about, so it jumps around a lot. I mean, it's funny. It was funny.
Love gamers, bro.
Love gamers. Yeah, it's like that Whisper Paragot, where it's like, nice transmog F word. I'm like, what? Thank you. Huh? Like it's
like
gamers. Is that a compliment? Is that an insult? Me and Anton theorized about it, and we came to the conclusion that it's complimenting another male is something that people that aren't comfortable in sexuality like to do. So they have to end it with an insult to show that they are straight. You know what
surely at that point, like, you just don't say it.
Yeah, no, it's true. I don't know, dude. But it's just one of those like
and the irony, and this is all
shit.
over. This is all over in life, but the irony in like insulting someone for, like, if it's an insult, right? It's clearly sarcastic, and he's saying you probably care too much about how you look in the game.
Maybe.
But then the irony in the caring that they care is just so much worse. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many layers of like, what is wrong with you? Do you need a hug?
I mean, Dad went out to get milk and hasn't returned, and it's been 10 years, you know? Like, shit happens.
Yeah, homie needs a hug.
But yeah, so like my week, obviously, like you guys hit 60 a little before me. I really took my time and okay, well, yeah. But now I'm also at the point where I'm doing Covenant stuff. I'm doing world quests. I'm farming anima.
Which Covenant, by the way?
Venthyr. Vampire Boys.
Yeah, because of the execute.
Yeah, Condemn is an insane fucking ability, and I understand why.
It is getting nerfed.
Is it?
So you know. Yes.
F, bro.
Nerf's coming. Not sure how big, but nerf's coming.
It's Pog. And you get like the second ability you get is literally Dimension Door, which is pretty cool. It's just you teleport to a different spot, like within range. It's pretty cool.
I will say, Condemn's fucking up our dungeons, by the way, because...
Is it?
Yeah, because Rob plays Warrior. His opener is Condemn. Gets him a fuckload of aggro immediately, and I'm there like trying to like rake enough to get aggro
basically
back.
What we could do then is like.
No, because when he gets nerfed, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
but
okay,
it's
but
just
right now,
like,
you could use
damage is so
Condemn
ridiculous.
Whenever he's above 80% health. So as long as if I open with something else, give you time to get aggro, and then I Condemn, should be alright, right?
Yeah. What are the odds you get 2 in though in that time?
Still haven't finished Rev and Wrath. We'll give you a spoiler warning in case Rev and Wrath story stuff comes up, Swede.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
What'd you ask, sorry?
Honestly, as far as zones go, like zone by zone in terms of story, we probably won't be getting too deep into it, and quest lines as well. Dungeon-wise, I've only done the dungeon in Rev and Wrath once, so I don't really have much to say there either.
Which dungeon is that? I haven't done it yet. Halls of Atonement?
Sanguine Depths, I think it's called.
Okay, yeah, there's 2. I have a bunch of dungeon quests. I've only done 3 dungeons so far. Plague Fall, Necrotic Wake, and... No, that's
Spies
it.
of Ascension.
No,
you did Spies of this, right?
No.
What? Okay.
So those are the only 2 dungeons I've done. But I have quests for like 6 others, so I want to do dungeons tonight. But yeah, like
I do want to say that as I tweeted a couple days ago that I still feel like a noob to WoW, right? And my like start essentially to WoW properly, other than that Spelling Classic, which to be fair, I mean we got to level 40 something, that's quite a considerable amount of playtime, but as an introduction to retail WoW properly was essentially playing the pre-patch of Shadowlands, right?
Yeah,
and
the new level experience and shit. Yeah.
In that pre-patch, we leveled to 50 on a level to 50 on a couple characters, sort of got used to just playing an MMO again, I guess, and
preparing and doing mythic dungeons and shit, like practicing that a little bit.
Like at that point, like I'm late to the game and I'm being taught how to do stuff, right? Everyone else there they all know the BFA dungeons, you've all been through them however many times, and it's just a matter of like me figuring out my role and like learning how to go through the dungeons and all this good shit. So when
it's
Shadowlands
interesting because you as a newish player to World of Warcraft, like you immediately jump to the I want to tank role, which is something that very few new players do. Like everyone, like, because the safe bet is, I'll DPS, and if I suck, then whatever. But you like hopped immediately to tank, and as a druid, and kicking ass, doing well. So
I fucking love it, dude. I love the bear. Jake doesn't, but we'll get into that later.
Oh boy.
So I jumped to tank because when I played Final Fantasy XIV, I played DPS. And although I would say the DPS role, you've got, it felt a little bit more nuanced, maybe, in Final Fantasy XIV. Probably not. I actually, now I'm thinking about it, it was probably a little simpler. The only reason that I considered it maybe harder was because of, like, Red Mage has a combat res. But now that we're deep into actually playing WoW, Death Knight has a combat res. Warlock kind of has a combat res. The tank, Guardian Druid, has a combat res. So, like, that's not as unique as I thought it was to, like, the Red Mage, for example. Red Mage is a really cool class, though. So, Red Mage was, like, a combination of caster and melee, and you would, like, you had a rapier, and you would jump in and, like, fuck them up with the rapier, and then do, like, a backflip and cast a bunch of spells. Red Mage, cool as fuck. But, yeah, so when we started on WoW, it was, like, every group needs a tank. So I definitely wanted to play a role that would be in demand more than I wanted to play a DPS. I think Anton at the time was pretty dead set on healing, like, he's now switched to DPS, but it just seemed to fit that, like, okay, I can tank, Anton can heal, and then we're pretty much set at any point if we ever need to do dungeons, we've got a tank.
Yeah, because even if you have to looking for a group, you'll find a group instantly, because DPS... Yeah. There's, there's 50 DPS for every one tank and healer duo, so...
Yeah. And I absolutely fell in love with Druid in general. Like, playing through the pre-patch, I've always loved the idea of Druids. You shapeshift into a goddamn bear or a cat or whatever, it's badass. But playing through stuff like the Legion, class hall stuff, and like learning about the Emerald Dream and the Emerald Nightmare and like Ursoc and all this stuff was like super cool. I was super invested in that stuff. Got the artifact weapons and all this good shit. So there was no way I was gonna switch off Druid. And now like Guardian Druid is just so
I feel like
so
you kind
fun
of
for
like
me.
because Druid was your first pick. You're like, yeah, I'll try Druid. Well, then you got
Shaman was my first pick.
Oh,
and
true.
then I was like,
you said you were gonna play Shaman.
Yeah, because I was kicking ass in Hearthstone as Shaman, and I love summoning totems and kicking ass at them, and I was gonna play DPS Shaman, but I switched to Druid because we needed a tank, and like as far as classes go, like for me it's either Shaman or Druid, like in general I think, which is why now my alt is a Shaman. But yeah, so coming into Shadowlands, what made Shadowlands such an enjoyable experience for me so far is that Shadowlands is the level playing ground, right? Like everyone is new to Shadowlands. And up until Shadowlands release, obviously like I said, I'd never played through anything after Lich King, and I barely played through Lich King, so any dungeons we might have been doing or any campaigns you might have been playing through by choice was going to be completely new to me, whereas everyone else knew, like, oh yeah, Mop is this, or this dungeon from Mop is that, or WAD is this, etc. And I was like, I was a newbie and I was learning. Whereas we come into Shadowlands, it's a level playing field, and as a very competitive gamer, it was my opportunity to compete. Right? So we jump into Shadowlands, and immediately, that competitive nature has been rewarded fucking tenfold at this point, right? Like I'm so proud of myself, and I feel like I've found this I don't want to say I found a calling, but I've definitely found a really happy spot playing WoW, where we have some really seasoned players in the guild, and in general, we know, Eva's not in the guild, but just for the sake of, obviously he plays with us a lot of the time, he basically is. Like, we have some really experienced and seasoned players, and to be able to jump into Shadowlands, and I was the 5th person in the guild to reach level 60, which felt really fucking good. Top 5. And in that top 5, we had a healer, 3 DPS, and then me. So with that top 5, it was me, Paragon, Lou,
Beast.
Rob, and Beast. So that was the first 5 in the guild to 60. Para got it within 10 hours, I think, of release.
Yeah, he
right?
grinded.
He fucking grinded, and big up to him, because Para, he does so much in the guild for the raiding and stuff. He's
he's in charge. Big
himself.
Up to fucking Para, dude.
Big.
He's in charge of the raid roster. He reached out to, because I started the guild, obviously. I was like, yeah, I'll start a guild, and we'll see what we'll do. And Para hit me up, and he was like, listen, dude, I wanna, I'm working on the roster and this and that, and I was like, yeah, hell yeah, go for it. So in the meantime, he set up a proper roster. He set up this question list for us to fill in so that we can mix and match. He set up the first the first scheduled raid night. He's definitely the man when it comes to that shit. I like to think that I do the administration. I make sure that the guild bank's in order, and I make sure that the guild has money, that when the guild's money goes to repairs and bank tabs and
new
whatever
guild
the
bank
fuck.
tabs,
and shit like that. And then Para's the one that's doing, he's making sure that the
you
people,
delegated. It's what any smart CEO would do,
Exactly.
Big shout out to Para. So obviously in a way, given that Para is basically sort of he's also kind of taken it on himself as the healer daddy, so he's kind of anyone who's interested in healing in the raids and stuff, he's kind of responsible for. So it's kind of inspiring when he's fucking balls deep in Gench, sweating to get to 60, and kudos to him. He was first in the guild to 60. Beast was about an hour behind him. The day after, I was looking through the levels, and it was at 59, it was me, Lou, and Rob, and I was like, I'm gonna be 3rd, bro. But I guess I just slept a little too long, because about an hour or 2 before me was Lou, then Rob. I've got to say, I'm proud to have actually slept that night and kind of stayed healthy. I stayed up until 8 playing WoW. That was about Natty kicked it a little bit before I did, because in the end it was just me and Natty like dragging ourselves through. And he was like, "Bro, I'm falling asleep. I gotta go." And I was like, "Sure thing, dude." I got in bed at 8, and yeah, I slept until about 1:45 or like 2 o'clock, so about 6 hours. Got up, immediately got back on WoW to hit 60. And yeah, it just felt good. It feels good. Like, I feel like I kind of proven myself. I'm sure no one else gave a fuck. But for me, like, just the way that I am, I feel like I proved to myself that, like, yeah, I can do this. I can be here. And even more so now, because in the last few days, we've gone from, like, we did, like, 2 heroic dungeons to just jump into Mythic. And now, with, I think, mostly Anton, like, it's been the DPS has been a bit mixed and matched, but, like, me and Para, and then whoever we could get for DPS, whether it was Lou, Rob, Beast, or Anton, pretty much, like, 3 of those 4, we've been crushing Mythics, like, one after the other, and we'll have done every Shadowlands dungeon Mythic by the end of this week, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
like,
dope.
that feels so good.
I really hope that I can hop on for a few of those, but I need to do some heroics first and gear up a little bit more, but, we'll get there.
With the number of 60s we have also, we should be capable of having 2 dungeon groups.
Yeah, for sure.
Depending on who, because Daff just hit 60, and although Daff won't be raiding, he's a healer and he will have time to do dungeons, I think, when Tony hits 60. But yeah, it feels awesome. It feels awesome to be part of a guild that has, like, a number of, like, fairly competitive players, especially PvE, like, knowing that we've got people eager to commit to raiding and Mythics and Mythic Plus as soon as that comes out. And to be one of the front runners, it just feels really fucking good, especially as a role like tank, where, I'm needed, and it feels good to know that I'm getting better at my role, to be going into dungeons undergeared for Mythic, going in blind. I have to say as well, and we'll get into it in a bit, that the dungeons in Shadowlands are fucking awesome. I have to say, they are awesome. A lot of they've changed some of the mechanics around. The emphasis is very different to how it was in BFA, and I'm loving pretty much every
just
single
a lot
one.
of, like, the 2 dungeons that I've done. There's definitely some mechanics that we haven't seen before, or we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Whereas BFA, all the dungeons mechanic-wise felt very samey.
Samey to one another, especially, yes.
Yeah, it's like to each other. Like, it didn't matter whether you did King's Rest or what's the one that we fucking hate? Underrot or Ataldazar. They all, mechanics-wise, were very similar, except for, like, maybe one boss that was, like,
a lot of ground goop and a lot of mobs that randomly attack without aggro.
Exactly. Whereas I've only done 2 dungeons so far, but I've already seen some pretty cool, unique mechanics, like in Necrotic Wake, where you have to, like, target the hook dude, and the hooks the boss down.
Yeah.
You fight the boss, but eventually he zoops back up, spawns a new hook dude, and you have to, like, that's a cool mechanic. The final boss, where it just, like, banishes someone, and they have to kind of go through a gauntlet of shit.
Theater of Pain, fucking incredible, right? There's a point in Theater of Pain where you have to fight your party mates.
I haven't done that dungeon,
so instead of banishing, so in Necrotic Wake, you get banished, you fight an NPC and then teleport.
Yeah.
Theater of Pain, 2 of you, 2 DPS, just get yoinked down onto the ground and have to fight each other while everyone else fights the boss.
Okay.
Which is fucking cool. Like, it's super cool. I don't know if the winner gets a buff or anything like that, but, like, that dungeon is
basically
like,
say,
a boss crawl.
Lose on purpose so that someone else gets the buff and, like, save time that way?
I don't know.
Like, if I just don't put up a fight and don't use any defensive and I just take a beating, say it's me and Anton down there, and I just let Anton fucking burst me down to save time. I feel like that might be distracting. I have no idea. Mythic Plus or some shit.
Doing it in I really don't know. I don't know if there's any emphasis on,
like, I'm assuming you don't kill each other, right? I'm assuming you just get back up there with low HP. And
no one dies. You get yoinked like a duel.
Yeah.
You get yoinked back up. What makes it interesting is the boss has a mechanic where, like, he does a big combo, and you're in a round arena, and he will, like, do a cleave that takes up one half of the arena, and then a cleave that takes up the other half. And he puts up these banners that slow you an insane amount, and you have to kill the banners or you're going to get hit by the cleave. And killing those banners when 2 of your DPS are just down in the pit having to fight each other is fucking work. Like, it is ridiculous.
That sounds fucking awesome, though. That sounds fucking sick.
It's a really good fight. I like I said, I love all these dungeons, and interestingly, they're all fairly fucking different from each other, and all kind of have their own unique mechanics. But yeah, I'll gush about the dungeons in a bit. But basically, to summarize, my Shadowlands experience has been, for the first time in an MMO, playing what's new and current, and being competitive and feeling good about it, feeling good at the game.
Like, I don't know why you're ready for the raid, right? You're 171.
170, baby, hit it today.
Nice. So
ready to raid.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
It's funny. There's an achievement called Raid Ready, where in Mythic you beat the boss of Necrotic Wake without being hit by any of the mechanics, which I thought was cool. I got that the other day. Don't
get fucked by Icebound, and don't get hit by the fucking,
and don't get fucked by the freezing rain or whatever. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I think it's unique to Mythic, but he puts a huge slow on the arena as well. He, like, these massive, like, circles of just, like, ridiculous slow, which makes it super hard to dodge the fucking ice rain and get out of the AoE for the freeze. But yeah, frozen binds. So yeah, my Shadowlands experience so far has been sweaty. It has been less about soaking up the new world and the new lore, as it has been about sweating to 60 and just getting through the hard dungeons and shit to gear, which awesome. I think so far has been very different. I think you're gonna now transition into sweating now.
I got my lore experience. I'm redoing. Obviously, I'm running my second character through the campaign now as well, to properly record footage and write scripts and shit for the new videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, on my main, I farmed mounts today. I was like, bro, I got this add-on that Para recommended, Rare Scanner.
Yeah. And
it like gave me a warning when I was in an area that was like, yo, if you farm these mobs here, there's a chance that this rare spawns, and he drops a mount. And I was like, oh, fuck it. So I spent like an hour.
I saw you link the two you got.
What?
You linked the mounts that you got. The big beetle that you can ride on.
Yeah.
I need to get that. There's 3 in Ardenweald alone, because the frog is exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I haven't done the frog yet, but those other two were Ardenweald.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I spent like an hour, and you have to kill like these specific mobs, and when you kill enough of them, they'll yell for their dad to come beat you up, essentially. And he shows up on the mount, and you have to kill the mount first, and then kill the rider, and then the rider drops the mount. Like, it's a guaranteed drop as well, because you have to farm for him to spawn. It took me about an hour. Towards the end of it, because I've been farming alone for like 50 minutes, and then towards the end of it, some random priest rolled up, and he was like, yo, you farming for the mount? And I was like, yeah, dude. He was like, oh yeah, I'll help.
Nice.
Pog. So we did it together. And then he also told me like, yeah, hey, nearby there's another guaranteed mount drop. You want me to show it to you? And I was like, yeah, fuck it, dude. So that's how I got the little unicorn boy. Very simple as well. It's just kill the rare, then tame his unicorn by right-clicking it, and you just get the unicorn. It's very cool.
Nice.
But yeah, that was fucking pog. So I got 2 mounts. I want to go back and get the frog as well. But yeah, I was just there to do world quests, and the fucking add-on was like, yo, mount nearby. And I was like, oh yeah, fuck it, dude.
If we're not doing dungeons, I currently have a covenant quest to kill res, because they drop these coins.
I've done that one, but right now I got what I'm doing right now is I have a bunch of dungeon quests, but I have to collect like 1,000 anima, so I need to do world quests anyway to kind of farm that shit. And like for the main campaign, I just did a bunch of shit in the maw, including dailies and shit, building up my rep with what's her name, the NPC there that you kind of have to build a relationship with.
Venari? I can't remember her name. Something like that.
Voiced by Anna from Overwatch.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, for the longest time, I was like, dude, I recognize his voice. Who the fuck is this? So I Googled
it was clear as day. It was clear as day to me.
So I Googled it. I was like, oh yeah, right. That is Anna. It sounds the exact same. Exact same.
Maybe a little thicker on the accent, but exactly.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the actress is
cadence.
Also like has that accent by like naturally
Egyptian or something.
Right? Yeah, Egyptian, I think.
Yeah, I know Anna is Egyptian, so it makes sense.
But I'm pretty sure that she like naturally has an accent when speaking English. Because English is not her first language. So I guess whenever she voices an English character, that's how they're gonna sound. In a way.
As far as mount farming goes, to me, I got 1.
Yeah, you got the
And I
fucking
was so happy.
Larian, right? Yeah.
The Silverwind Larian, I think it's called. It's very
Nice.
easy to get. No, I got two because I got a fancy one from Ardenweald.
Which one? Oh, the frog.
It's a secret. No, the little baby basket.
Oh, yeah.
So
I looked up how to do it, and I was like, yeah, you gotta fucking do this thing, use these 5 items, and then blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, fuck that, bro.
Um,
Looks cool, though.
So
Little cradle.
another scavenger hunt. So the Silverwind Larian, very easy to get, just time consuming, and like
Just a time sink, yeah.
I think maybe one time I've really done a mount grind, and that was in Final Fantasy 14, trying to get the fucking Batmobile looking ass car that plays like blues music whenever you drive it. But yeah, so the Silverwind Larian, it's just a scavenger hunt, and it takes you all over Bastion. Like there's 50 fucking so there's 45 collectibles across Bastion that you have to pick up, and you will literally go from the very northwest to the very southeast corner finding these things through like
I think that's something
hostile areas and stuff like that.
You know, whenever what I'll do is like I'll farm for some mounts whenever my weeklies are all done and shit, and I'm like, now I can dedicate myself to when the only thing I can do is really farming anima and stuff. I might as well get some mounts and shit, dude.
But ever since we walked into
do.
Bastion, you see the Larian, and I was like, bro, you better be able to get that as a mount.
Yeah, and then I was like,
then
hey, you
someone
can buy
pointed
one.
out there's like you can buy one for 20k if you're
like, I don't want
exalted
to
or some
anymore.
shit.
And then Lou was like, yo, Duke.
Lou linked one in the Discord, and I was like, okay. I looked up how to get it. At first, it seemed really easy. So in the beta, you needed 10 of these anima crystals, right?
And now you needed 45.
You need 50.
50.
In live, you need 50. So I started off. I had this video guide for 10, and I was like, fuck yeah, got them all. And then I looked down in the comments, and like in the description, and the guy who uploaded the video was like, yeah, so this only works in the beta. In live, you need 50, and here's a new guide. So I went back, and I looked at the new guide, and I went through every single one, probably over the course of about 4 or 5 hours.
That's not
some of them are
too
tricky.
bad, though.
No, it's not too bad.
It's just a bit of a
but-
time sink, but if you got nothing else going on.
Yeah.
Like right now, I have a bunch of quests, but whenever that dies down, whenever I'm done with that, because those dungeon quests aren't going to be repeated. The only thing that I'm going to be doing every week is my world quests. Every day you get a new thing that's like do world quests in this zone, so you do that every day. Farm anima whenever you can. And every week you can get a couple levels of renown for your faction, and that's about it. So that's... Wait, what?
Oh, the Dungeon Select YouTube link doesn't work, I guess, because there's a full stop at the end of it.
Fix that real quick. There's going to be more time to do that sort of thing, because
exactly.
Right now we're balls deep in it, because everything is new and they're introducing a bunch of new mechanics to us. But once that's over and we actually have to do the weekly grind, that's when you'll have a lot more time to do
It just
stuff.
seems like across Shadowlands, there's a lot of this like hidden stuff, secret stuff to do. You pick up these items that are like they have no description. I've got a horseshoe, right? That horseshoe is to get the dead Blanchy mount, which if you've seen, looks fucking badass. It's like Blanchy, but just a red
Wait, how
ghost.
the fuck did you get that?
I found the horseshoe randomly in, I think, Revendreth. And basically, getting dead Blanchy is a fucking chore. You have to go all over Azeroth, like all over the world. You have to get like handfuls of oats from Westfall and shit like that. And across 6 days, you take different items to Blanchy, and then you get them as a mount, right? So it takes a week to get this fucking mount.
Yeah, but that's cool though. I like that. I like it when it's
Well,
not just a 0.5% chance drop. I like it when the mount is like locked behind actually doing things instead of just farming the same
here's
NPC
why I
over.
enjoyed getting the Larian so much. Bastion is fucking beautiful.
Yeah, it's just
There is
rewarding when
so
you
much in
know that
Bastion.
at the end of the path, the mount is guaranteed. You're gonna
Guaranteed,
get it.
absolutely.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Like
especially
I knew,
when it's
for
like
instance,
you go
that
out
the
of
two
your
things
way.
that I did, I knew were guaranteed mounts, so I didn't have to go
Yeah.
through the same process of farming until this rare showed up again and again. Because once he shows up and you kill him, you get the mount. And
You
I was
get
like,
the
okay,
mount.
yeah, I'm willing to commit some time to do that because I know I'll get a mount out of it. There was one rare I was in Revendreth, and there was like one guy in general was like, "Yo, there's a rare here that drops a mount." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm around the corner. I'll check it out." Wasn't a guaranteed drop, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go around and farm that mount. Fuck that.
And it was the same in the pre-patch event where it's like, oh, you might get loot from these rares, and then you get some Scourge Stones, and you're like, okay, never mind then. But yeah, like. I was in suspense to see Ardenweald before it came out, and I was very excited to be like, yo, it's a cool, beautiful forest zone. But having joined the Kyrian Covenant and spent a lot of time in Bastion, I'm like, boy, this place is so fucking beautiful. The grass looks really nice, and like all the structures are cool, and yeah, when you're on a scavenger hunt and you have to like explore parts of the map that you don't even have to enter at any point. Maybe at some point there's a very cool
optional
little, like,
there's
hidden
optional
trading
quest lines. Like there's like this is the first expansion where there's an achievement for doing the main campaign in the zone, and an achievement for doing the optional campaigns, the optional quest lines. And when you're done with the main campaign, you'll typically have, if you do all the side quests that you find on your way, you'll typically have 2 to 3 optional campaigns to still discover, which I guess are in the zones that you haven't visited, right? That makes sense.
Well, the thing is that I like, there's one place in particular, oh my god, in particular, that I imagine, like, maybe in future patches, there'll be a quest line there or something like that.
Yeah. I also,
but like, there's just this little area. It's like a little trading post. There's a dude there that sells like weird, very specific things that like I don't know what you'd ever use them for. One says it's a crafting reagent. The other one, you have to give him like a necklace of fingers or some shit that you get in Revendreth or something to buy this one particular item that also has no clear use. Like, I imagine maybe there'll be quest lines or some hidden achievements in those places, but they're just so cool. And it's like, it's crazy that you don't ever have to go there because of the detail that they put in.
I had a little look.
There's one anima crystal there, and you have to go there and grab it.
In the portal hub in Oribos.
Yes.
Like, that portal hub looks like there's room for more portals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And okay, I know that in Legion, for instance, they added a whole new zone halfway through the expansion. You got to go to Argus, the Draenei home planets, and that was a new zone to explore and do quests in. Then in BFA, they introduced Najitar. So I wouldn't be surprised in like patch 9.2 or whatever, they'll just introduce us to a whole new zone in the Shadowlands for us to go to. Because that's typically, the past 2 expansions, they've always done that. Like, oh, here's a new zone, by the way, halfway through an expansion. Yeah. And that would be fucking, that'd be pretty cool. Because as, you know, Lore Walker Cho right here. Dude, I gotta, at some point, I gotta do like a Lore Walker Cho cosplay or some shit, bro. Like for Halloween or some shit. Just fucking
full panda cosplay, bro.
Full panda
face
cosplay.
paint.
Anyway.
Oh, watch out though. This is about to peak our bend. All right, you want to be careful with that black face paint.
Yeah. No. Okay. But I'll get a fursuit, bro. Those are cheap, right? No. When I read up on the Shadowlands lore, it was like there's infinite Shadowlands. There's infinite realms. We just get to see those 5. So, like, there's plenty of room for more, and for Blizzard to be like, okay, here's another one, or whatever. Which,
I mean, I guess
cool.
the main storyline that we're tackling in the first patch is dealing with this... Sweet's gone, but spoiler alert anyway. Dealing with this betrayal in Revendreth of the guy that's now funneling. So, it seemed like a big reveal that Anima wasn't going to the Maw, but Revendreth was getting it?
Yeah, no, yeah, because typically the way the Shadowlands work, Revendreth is the biggest source of Anima because of the fact that they torture motherfuckers and suck it out of them. And typically they would dispense it kind of throughout the realms and keep everybody healthy and happy. And I guess they just haven't done that. They've just kept it all for themselves because of what Sire Denathrius was planning. What I'm surprised by... Right? Because there's one character in the Afterlives Revendreth cinematic that is very prominent in Garrosh Hellscream, but you do not see him at all in Revendreth. So I'm wondering when he's gonna show up. I'm wondering when, like, probably maybe like during the raid, because maybe he's in Castle Nathria somewhere, and we find him there or some shit. But that is very interesting. Like because you know. Afterlife's Bastion, Uther. And who do we see while questing through Bastion? Uther.
Yeah.
Afterlife's Maldraxxus, Draka. Who do we see questing through Maldraxxus? Draka.
Yeah, she's a Pog
Afterlives,
champion.
Afterlives, Ardenweald, it's about Aralor and his grove, and that is something you also experience when you quest through it. And then Afterlives Revendreth is like, yeah, Garrosh, and you don't see the motherfucker, like, at all.
He must be in the raid. He must be in the raid purely because Revendreth concludes at the raid, right?
Yeah.
You
absolutely.
see Castle Nathria, you see everything being, like, all of this anima that they've got just pouring into the maw. Now, the thing is that, so, because they say you get some dialogue where you basically tell not the Paragon, what's she called? Arbiter? You tell the Arbiter, like, or the council at the Arbiter, like, yo.
Yeah, like the leaders of every realm.
Yeah. Revendreth doing some bad shit. Like, I just witnessed them doing some fucked up shit.
And then the prince shows up and fucking the Kyrian bitch is like, you speak for Revendreth?
Yeah, where's
and he was like,
well, and he's like, oh, well,
stabbed you in
turns
the back,
out,
bitch.
yeah. So one of the people that kind of speaks for you when you get there says, like, Revendreth hasn't just been, they've been stealing anima from the whole of the Shadowlands, pretty much, right? And
just pouring it into the maw.
Yeah, I mean, that cutscene is fucking ridiculous. You see it all just like straight down there.
That and like I think every zone had a really cool end cinematic. You know, in fucking Ardenweald,
Ardenweald, dude.
Resurrecting Ysera, dude. Oh, dude, like, I pogged so
had
hard.
No,
that was so sick.
Here's what they did that was really, really fucking good to me. Was it Legion that Ysera died?
Yeah, she gets corrupted by the Emerald Nightmare, and you have to put her down essentially before she destroys
Never played
the
Legion,
temple.
But they give you a little scenario
where you play as Ysera
and you go to the Temple of Balloon and start fucking shit up and die. Yeah. And it's like in that, and you see her go up into the fucking sky or whatever.
Yeah, that cinematic you also see in Legion. So like those cinematics that they showed in that quest were just the Legion cinematics, but they put that little bit of gameplay in between.
They just used that as like a device for me for me who'd never seen Ysera or really knew or understood what she was. I got a little glimpse into like what's important about Ysera's story, why she's there, etc.
I mean, she is the creator of the Emerald Dream. Without her, the entire Emerald Dream dies.
And everyone is gathered around. You're like transporting the egg in this little basket, and everyone in the fucking forest is coming out and standing down the side of the road.
It's funny as well because as soon as I had two, when the egg starts shitting out nightmares, I was like, wait.
Yeah.
I was like, this is either Ysera or it's Cenarius, because both got consumed by an Emerald Nightmare in Legion, and one of them is going to come back here.
Ursoc, bro, come on, my boy.
No, but you see Ursoc, his pod die in the cinematic, right? So like, oh, well, it's not him. But, and then I was like, okay, it's either Cenarius or Ysera. And then, you do the quest line, and you eventually get that quest where you have to, you go into like her dream or whatever, and you see all these proto-drakes flying around. You fight Deathwing. You see Tyrande and Malfurion and all these homies like sad and whatever. That's when I was like, oh, this is Ysera.
And you take it to the fucking queen, and she just
there's one thing that the queen says, and I was like, huh, what does that mean?
Right.
She says when you get to her and you basically beg her to raise her, she's like, this is my sister's. As in, like,
yes,
and I'm like, huh?
Yes, I remember you saying. And then the homie's like, listen,
without her, everything that it's green dies, or whatever the fuck they say. And,
but some have got to live. They said something like people who were near that egg experience good shit or something. I don't remember exactly.
And basically, what Aralorn says is like, I know that things must sacrifice, but if TLDR, if we don't,
not all things have to be sacrificed.
Not all things have to be sacrificed. Some things need.
She was so important, I guess.
Yeah, and then she says like, "This is my sister's," as in like sister apostrophe S. I'm like,
yeah.
Who the fuck is your sister, dude? Like,
well, does she mean that it's her sister's pod? Is Ysera her sister? Is that what she's saying?
Or is Ysera like Ysera get created by her sister?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm very.
Who the fuck is her sister? Yeah, because if it isn't Ysera, who is it? But
I don't know.
It was cool to just see Ysera pop out, and there she is.
And like vibing. How she's like, okay, well, Ysera is now bound. So instead of retconning her death, essentially making her, you can return to Azeroth now and just do as usual. She's now bound to Ardenweald and serves Ardenweald instead, essentially.
I mean, I guess you can't. I mean, it is a cool point. and to be like, I don't know.
So they definitely like, they resurrected her, but they didn't retcon. Like her death in Legion doesn't feel any because when you resurrect people, there's a chance that like their death seems so like insignificant. Like, oh well, this doesn't fucking matter because Shadowlands.
Yeah.
But it still has connotations. Like she dies in Legion, meaning that Azeroth is now without Ysera, but the Shadowlands now gains her.
Well, yeah, and I think that's why they struggled with that. Like, we can't just save everybody. You know, like for that reason. You know, they can't. She isn't there to make sure that every single soul in Ardenweald is kept there forever. Like they have to go at some point. But Ysera was so important that it was worth bringing her back just to keep her there because of how significant she is, which I thought was very cool. And like I said, as someone who didn't play through Legion, to still be invested, like they did that very well to kind of, and obviously for players who did play through Legion, you get a fresh perspective on what happened to Ysera when you go
like the
to
dialogue and
temple.
shit when she's like you know, obviously not talking to, you know, Tyrande and them aren't able to hear what she's saying, but she's like, yo, please put me down, essentially. It was like, oh man.
That was awesome, I think.
And then the fucking cinematic for Maldraxxus, where you unlock the Seat of the Primus, and you get like this whole thing where, dude, Lady Vash, by the way, very cool character to make a return. In Maldraxxus, very dope. I love how she's like, been waiting for this reunion since you killed me, and I'm like, well, technically this character didn't exist back when your raid was right with you, but okay, fair enough. Very cool. One thing that I'm curious about though, right? Because obviously, due to my in my Maldraxxus video, I talk about another very important character in Warcraft lore that had a position in Maldraxxus but betrayed them to work for the jailer instead. Kel'Thuzad. I haven't seen him yet, so I'm wondering when he shows up.
I mean, we've seen Hell of Liches, that's for sure.
Yeah, because that's Maldraxxus, right? Yeah. But I haven't seen Kel'Thuzad, and I'm like, oh, so he's gonna be there at some point.
Somewhere. Maybe he's in Torghast or some shit
maybe,
like that.
Or maybe like we'll unlock him, you know, throughout the Covenant campaign, you know, the story stuff that we get from that. But
I mean, if he's there's
definitely a few characters that they said would show up that haven't showed up yet, and I'm like, we haven't seen Arthas yet, and Arthas is supposed to have a pretty big arc this expansion.
Yeah, apparently Swede ran into someone who seems insignificant but was like a cool spot. I can't remember his name. He was a High Mountain Tauren that got killed by the guy who stole the Legion artifact.
Yeah.
And that was just a cool spot that he was there, and I was like,
fucking
cool.
Houndmaster Fuckface from Scarlet Monastery that randomly
from Scarlet Monastery's in there, right?
Out of all the dungeon bosses they could reintroduce, they picked this guy, huh? And it's funny,
like,
I get it, right?
Whitemane, dude? Where's that?
Whitemane is one of the 4 horsemen.
What?
Yeah, she's one of the 4 horsemen.
She's a horsewoman?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
As a Death Knight in Legion, you raise the new horsemen of the Apocalypse, and one of them is Whitemane.
Right, I guess I didn't get to that yet.
So she's one of Bolvar's bitches now, dude. Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Speaking of Death Knight stuff. Dude. The fucking Ashbringer, sorry.
The original fucking Ashbringer, dude. Fucking, what's his name? Something Mograine. Not Darien, but that's his son. Alexandros Mograine. Yeah. That was also a character that I was like, that is so cool. And it's so cool that you take Darien with you when you go find him, like a little father-son reunion. That's very cool.
Yeah, and we're hoping for more of that, right?
I'm hoping. I want to see a moment of Thrall with Draka.
Yeah, right.
I want to see a moment of Jaina with Arthas, you know, because they used to smash.
Is
and then
Dalen dead?
Who?
Dalen Proudmoore?
Yeah. I mean, he died in Warcraft. Rexxar killed him. And that's why in
somewhere.
Okay, but you didn't play BFA from the Alliance perspective, but the biggest storyline throughout the Alliance campaign in BFA is you go into Kul Tiras, Jaina's homeland.
Yeah.
And you're basically working so that she gets forgiven by her own people for the death of her father that they still blame her for.
Yeah, I do.
And there's a lot of and her mom is like the biggest, like, dude, it's your fault that your dad is dead and I hate you.
Yeah, because at some point her and
it's such a big redemption arc for Jaina and that whole and Dalen It's fucking cool.
Okay,
like,
she's
that's
okay. With
so
that
cool.
in mind, they
So
gotta meet at some point. Surely, like, how can we? How can we like have a Jaina arc in the Shadowlands without her getting that redemption from her own fucking dad?
The thing is, he wouldn't be in the Maw because he died way before the Maw is doing what it's doing now.
So he's got to be in there somewhere.
He's got to be somewhere.
He's either gonna be in Bastion or Ardenweald, surely. Like he wasn't a baddie.
I mean, I would say Bastion because he was in service. He was a military man, much like Uther, for instance.
Yeah,
like,
but he wasn't a goodie, right? There was a reason
he was very
Rexxar
racist.
and Jaina basically teamed up with Rexxar to stop Dalen because
she was like, Horde isn't all bad, and he was like, all Horde is bad, grr.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like the thing is, there's so many characters, bro. Like I want to see Anduin meet his dad, bro. Where's Varian?
Yeah, Varian has to be in there, but Varian might be in the Maw as well because of...
Yeah, because he died
during
Legion, and that's when the Maw started sucking up all the souls. So I'm like, there's so many like cool... And I'm sure we'll get them. You know, they're going to just be sprinkled throughout as we unlock
dad,
more.
Pause champ.
Fucking King
Killed with
Terranas, dude.
Frostmourne, right?
Yeah.
So he won't be there.
I mean, I don't know what happened to all those souls when Frostmourne got shattered. You know what I mean? Like,
when you do the Death Knight thing, you run into some very important characters when you do the Death Knight Legion thing. You see a lot of the souls that came out of Frostmourne, but they're in Icecrown. And I don't know if they're stuck there or what. But when you...
Me neither.
You sort of pick up some shards of Frostmourne to make your own artifact weapon, and you see... I feel like you see Arthas' dad, and then you see Arthas.
You see Arthas and Ner'zhul. You kind of see Ner'zhul, the original Lich King, kind of coaxing Arthas and picking up Frostmourne and shit.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
But you definitely see like there are definitely a bunch of like named, recognizable characters that were inside Frostmourne that you see there.
It's also very cool to see like where Bolvar's story is going, because Bolvar is now free. He's no longer the Lich King.
Straight up.
You see him reunite with his daughter in Oribos, which is very cool. Like, because his daughter also he didn't like. BFA Alliance, very cool campaign. Horde, kind of bad, not gonna lie. But the Alliance campaign,
Horde felt very pointless.
You meet Talia, who you don't know is Talia Fordragon. It's just a girl named Talia, right? And at the end of the campaign, she meets Anduin or whatever, and she formally introduces herself for the first time. It's Talia Fordragon, and Anduin is like, wait.
Pause chat.
And that was a really big reveal. And then during the Alliance pre-patch, she figures out that Bolvar is alive, and Bolvar had been the Lich King because she didn't know.
Right.
And Gen Greymane is like, okay, well, we'll explain, not now, blah, blah, blah. Anduin got yoinked, we need to focus, whatever. And she's like, I'm going to find my dad, I'm going to join his side again. And that's really cool. And then now, at some point
but
during...
it seems so casual, because you see her, they meet
around
the fucking table in Oribos.
Yeah. So
but
I'm
it's
wondering,
not like there's no like big.
It's not the focus
moment.
of a big quest line, no.
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point there will be like a proper. But yeah, like there's so much story going on, and there's so
a lot
much
of daddy issues in this expansion. Bro.
Absolutely, and there's so many characters that I am hoping / fiending to come back and make. Apparently, because there's been some leaks, right? Like I don't know if you care, but there's been some leaks. Apparently Arthas is getting like a proper like redemption arc because he's now free of the Lich King's will, and he's actually going to be somewhat of a goodie, trying to redeem himself and shit.
It's about damn time.
And that'd be so fucking cool, you know?
Yeah.
For him to kind of like repent for all the shit he's done.
It's very Blizzard to do, but it's still going to
on a character like Arthas, though, I feel like that's the one character I feel like people want to see again and want to continue that story.
Yeah, because he's been. It's like there was a timer on it, and it's like they're like checking the watch, like. Has it been long enough for us to bring Arthas back? You know?
Yeah, this is the same with Illidan. Legion.
Yeah, since motherfucking day one, Illidan's been like flip, flop, flip, flip, flop, flip, flip, flop. Like since day one. Whereas Arthas is like, he's Lich King now. He's bad.
Yeah.
Okay, he's dead. And then for however many years later, it's like, yo, Uther kind of did him dirty. Like, in a big way, Uther did him dirty. It wasn't Uther's job to pick where the fuck Arthas went. And he put him in the worst possible place when at the end of the day, what a lot of Arthas did. I mean, Arthas was a prick, but like...
Yeah, but like all the bad shit he did was because he got corrupted by Ner'zhul, and
I don't know.
The moment he took up Frostmourne,
the moment that he told Uther to purge Lordaeron was before the influence of Frostmourne, right? At that point,
yeah.
I still probably would have been the right thing to do because they were all
But he was
gonna be
right
turned
because
into
they did
Scourge.
all get infected because Mal'Ganis, right? Mal'Ganis
And there's
was
literally a
already there.
moment, I'm pretty sure a moment in the Warcraft campaign where you're Arthas and you talk to like a kid and the kid's like, Master Skywalker, there's too many of like it's some shit like that, and then the kid
there's
like
a dungeon,
explodes and turns
in
into a
Wrath of the
ghoul.
Lich King. There's a dungeon called is it the Culling of Stratholme?
Yeah.
Whatever. You go back to Stratholme and you get to experience like and like Uther is there's like this whole bit between Uther, Jaina, and Arthas where they're like wah, and Arthas is like, oh, you're fired, wah. And then you go in and you see that Stratholme is just fucked. Like, it's fucked, but he was right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he basically says to Uther that it needs to be like purged, and Uther's like, you can't,
like everyone's
you can't tell me to
infected.
do that.
It's like, you know, zombie
And
apocalypse.
Arthas is like, as your future king, and Uther's like, you're not king yet, buddy. And
yeah, exactly.
Uther doesn't talk like that at all.
I think I just did a Bolvar video, so I read up on Lich King stuff. And for the Kil'thas as well, because Kil'thas was very prominent in Arthas's ascension to the Lich King. I watched like all the Warcraft 3 Reforged cinematics and shit. Because I didn't even know, but at some point Illidan and Arthas fucking duke it out in Northrend, which is really cool. Because Illidan, Kil'jaeden orders Illidan to stop Arthas and destroy the Frozen Throne, or Kil'jaeden kills Illidan, right? So Illidan recruits Lady Vash, Kil'thas, and everyone that kind of went to Outland to do that, and they battle it out. And Illidan gets his fucking dick kicked in, like he loses badly. And that is the point. And after that, Arthas takes up the Helm of Domination and becomes Lich King.
Yeah.
But there's been I went on this tangent with a goal in mind, and I kind of lost myself halfway through.
We're talking about Arthas' redemption arc.
Yeah,
where it started. And like, was Arthas actually bad? Was he actually good?
But like Arthas, he's a bit of a cunt. He's a bit of a cunt, but he's not bad.
Yeah.
Like deep down inside, you know what I mean?
I feel like he's probably a Maldraxxus kind of homie, but I don't know. It is tough to say because you don't get a huge amount of time to witness Arthas being a goodie, right? Even in Warcraft, it's like he's the leader. He is, well, he's not the leader of the humans, but he is a paladin.
The future king of Lordaeron. Like at that point in time,
Prince Arthas.
Humans. There's several kingdoms throughout the humans. There's the Kingdom of Lordaeron, there's the Kingdom of Stormwind, and they all have to kind of work together. It's not as we know it now in World of Warcraft.
Like Arthas and Uther. Obviously, Uther is his mentor, and Arthas is a paladin. But Arthas kind of does have his own agenda. I don't think it's strictly evil, but he's that kind of like
Chaotic.
imperfect hero character. Like he has faults that clearly.
Yeah, Arthas is very much a chaotic good to the point where he doesn't care what he has to do.
Yeah, as long as
like the end. What's the saying? The end something the means or whatever.
The end justifies the means?
Yeah. So like he doesn't like he knows Scourge bad. So he doesn't care that he has to cull an entire city to get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
right.
He's doing everything
and like you said,
with good intentions.
in the Culling of Stratholme, like
he was right. Like, absolutely.
all of the grain was fucked and they were all turning into Scourge, and like you got to do something, you know? Which I'm realizing now may have subconsciously influenced the story of the Febra Kingdom in Dungeon Select, but I can't really say direct. I couldn't say for sure. No. But when I wrote the backstory,
Gotcha.
Again, it was like a bad dude tainted all the fucking grain in
all the crops.
Kingdom. Yeah.
But it's funny as well because like Mal'Ganis there at the end of that dungeon is like, when you kill him, he's like, oh, stop, we're gonna finish this fight in Northrend. So Mal'Ganis knew what he was doing. He was like, I need Arthas to get to Northrend because he needs to, you know what I mean? So like, because the Scourge and the Burning Legion very much go hand in hand. Like, The Burning Legion
they both
and the Scourge are different factions, but the Burning Legion definitely used the Scourge to do a lot of their dirty work for them on Azeroth.
Yeah, because just like they try to get Illidan to do their dirty work for them,
yeah,
etc., etc. Like, yeah, I mean,
and they try to fucking get Grommash Hellscream to do a bunch of dirty work for them.
That's another thing, dude.
Corrupt a lot of fucking people.
We haven't seen at Gul'dan. Look at that. Look what happened there. The thing is that the thing is that a lot of these characters, like, there is a term, I don't know if it's flawed hero or something like that, but they all of these characters, especially
anti-hero almost in a way,
especially Arthas and Illidan, both like kind of good guys, but with this, they wanted this power, right? Like Illidan drank from the fucking well or whatever the fuck of bad shit to gain power, and it turned him into a bad dude who's surprised. Arthas ended up taking up Frostmourne because he succumbed to whatever the fuck, killed Jaden or whatever, waved in front of him, Mal'Ganis and all that shit. Yeah. Like, it's a common theme, and like, yeah, I'm glad that they did give it some room to breathe before they're like, okay, it's time for Arthas to really. Yeah, it's very cool to see, again. Because last we saw Legion was Burning Crusade, and then like 5 expansions later or whatever the fuck, and it's hold up, Wrath of the Lich King, Pandaria, Cataclysm, other way around. But WoD, Legion. So 5 expansions later, Illidan comes back, and now 6 expansions after Wrath of the Lich King, the Lich King comes back, which is very cool. Like, they've been sitting on it for a while, and what I've at one of the BlizzCons, they once told people it was like how do we, about the writing process. When a new expansion comes out, they start writing the story for not the next expansion, but the one after that. So writing wise, they've already written out the entire next expansion. They're already working on after that, story-wise. Well, yeah, because you've got to think, like, at what point the story's completed compared to development starting, compared to, like production, post-production, all of this shit down the line. Like, there's a lot of time for the writers, so right now they're already, the story threads. Story-wise, they're going to be working on not what comes after Shadowlands, but what comes after that, which is very cool, because that puts things into perspective, because that means that when they finished... when Legion came out, they were already writing Shadowlands. Yeah. Which is also funny, but you can see now, or I realized this, that it clearly shows, because it is since Legion that Sylvanas and the Jailer have been doing all these things to get shit sucked into the maw, and here we are, 2 expansions later, to see the payoff of that, you know what I mean? And interestingly, because BFA, relatively inconsequential from that as well. There's Paragon DS in chat, for those watching on YouTube. There were at Start of Legion there were hints of N'Zoth and Ny'alotha, which appear at the end of BFA. More than just hints. In the Emerald Nightmare raid, the Eye of Il'gynoth has a bunch of dialogue about the Black Empire coming, and N'Zoth will consume you, or whatever the fuck. Yeah. Which was big very much vibes from that boss as well. Which was very much just a warning, foreshadowing of BFA, which is very cool. Like, it's cool to think though that like it makes for good storytelling though. Like, you can basically now, going through Shadowlands, right? There will be things that will be like, what does this mean? And then 2 expansions later, will be like, oh, that's what that meant. And I dig that. I like that story writing, because it makes you kind of go back and be like, oh, so back in this expansion, it also gives each expansion a little bit more independence from its predecessor as well. Because as bad as BFA was, like, BFA wasn't super heavily influenced by what was happening in Legion. In many ways, it did feel like much more its own thing, rather than just, okay, this BFA, is the next compared to other, like, they've always done that, where expansions feel very separate from each other. Yeah. But there's always been this, like, red line. For instance, Pandaria had felt the Cataclysm happen and whatever the fuck, and they talk about the Cataclysm in Mists of Pandaria, even though that's the first time you see Pandaland. Legion talks about BC a lot, because it's the return of the Burning Legion. The last time you saw the Burning Legion was Burning Crusade. Yeah.
And you go to Argus, the home planet of the Draenei, to resolve that storyline, which has been hinted at since BC. So it's very cool that even though each expansion is very much its own secluded thing, there's a few like red lines throughout the plots that kind of link.
Yeah,
it
they
together,
definitely, especially the bigger things like Argus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That also like probably wouldn't have really been possible when BC came out in terms of like
just technology
and restrictions in that sense. So that's another thing.
Because Legion was the first time where they just middle of the expansion added an entire new zone.
Yeah.
Like what? They never do this.
I think
they throw Argus at you.
That's another thing that's like you see stuff reimagined again from a time where where they didn't have the potential to do as much with it well. That's super cool.
And then BFA gave you Nazjatar, which is Queen Ashara's home and playing ground. And Ashara has been a fucking character in Warcraft lore since the fucking beginning.
Yeah.
So it's really cool for them to finally now. They kind of did with Timeless Isle. Yeah, Timeless Isle, I guess, but Timeless Isle was very much like its own thing. It wasn't really. It was very small compared to like actually just throwing a whole new patch dedicated to this new continent or new land.
Yeah.
Because the entirety of 7.3 introduced this, a new raid, a whole new storyline, a new faction, all dedicated on Argus. BFA in 8.2, new raid, new storyline, new factions, new shit to grind, all within Nazjatar.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they'll do that for Shadowlands as well.
Speaking of,
we'll see what form
there's so many things I want to segue off of. But there's one thing that I've wanted to ask since before the podcast, and that is, would have been a good segue about 5 minutes ago because you were talking about the writing process of the expansions. Yeah. But how has your writing process for videos changed since the expansion dropped? Because obviously beforehand you didn't have first-hand experience to go on with Shadowlands, right? You would look up, you'd have to research stuff, you could maybe draw on some knowledge from BFA or previous expansions, but now we're in Shadowlands. Are you still having to do as much like secondary research, or are you like you're in Shadowlands and you can draw enough lore from like what's written down?
Well, yeah, because I've only done one video dedicated to Shadowlands exclusively, and that's been. And obviously, by playing that campaign again to record the footage, I automatically soak up that lore again, which makes writing the script very easy. But when we get to a point where we start talking about, when we get more information on Sardonathrius, for example, and his background, I'll have to do a little more research. I've already found, and I'm like, fuck. Because of this rare scanner app that I now have, you can see what each rare mob drops. And there's rares in the maw that drop items marked as maw lore that you can then read in game to give you information about like what the fuck is the maw. And now I'm like, oh fuck, am I really gonna have to find all those drops and read them all?
Yeah. Oh
probably.
No, it's like playing Skyrim and having to read all the books, bro.
But like I'm sure in a few weeks they'll be online anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, oh.
Yeah, but you
that is your
be...
bad para.
You don't want to wait for a few weeks, man.
No, because I want to definitely, especially with this like series that I'm doing now.
Stories from the Maw, that Dutch Geek series incoming, where you do a little video, a little short video on each fucking lore item that drops in the Maw.
Bruh, don't even. But yeah, like right now, I'm still like I'm focusing on. I think for the next few weeks on YouTube, it's gonna be this series where I detail the lore and the story of just the campaign.
Yeah.
And still make character breakdowns of characters that are making a comeback. So like I did Uther, I did Kilthas because they're coming back. I want to do a video or like maybe several videos because Arthas is quite a lengthy story about Arthas.
I can't wait for the raid footage that you use in your videos to be from our raid.
Hey man. About Arthas, I want to do video on Thrall, Jaina, Bane, like the guys that we currently have in our possession. The Bolvar one went up a couple days ago, so that's something that I'll be working on first, is just characters we already know and are going through new stuff in Shadowlands and just talking about their story from then till now, and then whenever Shadowlands is over and we got a bunch of new stuff, I'll just make a part 2 to each of those characters. I think that's the way I'm going to do it.
Yeah, okay. That sounds
and then
about right.
By the time that that's done and we have more information and stuff on the new characters, that's when I'll start doing like, hey, the story of the Winter Queen, the story of Sardonathrius, the story of the Arbiter or whatever the fuck. And we'll
Foolish Paragon. God, I'll never get over that.
And we'll go on from there. But
you haven't done it yet. There's a great bit in Spies of Ascension where one of the fucking NPCs just yells, "Foolish Paragon!" And then obviously
everybody's like, "Para, people giggle."
Yeah, everyone yells, "Foolish Paragon!" People giggle.
But yeah, so writing-wise, now I still have to do my research because a lot of the videos that I'm still making isn't necessarily current content.
Right.
But I'm sure that'll change. Like at some point, I'll already know a bunch from my own. I'll still have to look up some shit so that I can just kind of get a refresher. Be like, okay, yeah, so I want to, like, I can write a 2-page script to describe said story in, you know, very big, not very in-depth, and then I'll have to look up, like, okay, what's the specifics. What is also very cool is that each zone, if you open your quest log, just gives you a lore breakdown, like the campaign.
Yeah.
Which is very useful.
And
very
the
fucking
campaign
useful.
thing as well.
Very useful for me, because that means that I can just read through that and be like, oh yeah, just type.
Right.
And then when I record footage for it, just play through that part of the campaign, and there we go.
What's been your favorite? Just your favorite thing. I don't know. What's been your whether it was a reveal or like a character moment or like something in the lore or just something that you played through? What's been your favorite part so far?
The Ysera thing is high up on my list. That was so cool.
In terms of reveals and cinematics, that's probably one of my favorite as well.
I love how cinematic this expansion is as a whole.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
And it obviously...
Dude, the fucking final cutscene for Revendreth is also fucking badass, bro. It's so cool.
We said at the very start
as a character really intrigues me. You have
this expansion looks beautiful, and with how cinematic it is, all of the now, even though they're an engine, they look better than ever, obviously.
Yeah,
and we said that from the start. So I have no objections anymore to a lot of these like in-engine cutscenes, whereas like back in Lich King or whatever, it looked kind of dopey.
Yeah, like the Wrathgate cinematic is ass.
But now it really does feel a lot better.
Yeah. So like out of all the like leaders of each of the zones, Sire Denathrius intrigues me the most. I know there's something about him that I really like, just the way his character is. He's this like very cocky, but then in that final cutscene, like he's been very cocky the entire time.
Yeah.
But then in one of the cutscenes, someone tells them that they've betrayed Revendreth, and that's like the first time you hear his character kind of break, and he gets very angry and like, I am Revendreth. That kind of shows his true colors, you know? And I was like, oh, that's really cool. It reminded me a lot of there's a cutscene in Waters of Draenor that got a lot of appreciation after the fact.
Yeah. Because
people didn't realize how nuanced the performance was, where Thrall and Garrosh mock Ra, and Thrall kills Garrosh, right? And then Garrosh starts yelling at Thrall that, like, because Thrall blames Garrosh obviously for ruining the Horde in Mists of Pandaria, right? And Garrosh like gets really angry and starts yelling at him like, "You left me to pick up your pieces. You made me what I am." And everyone was like, "Oh, typical haha blame game." But if you now go back and watch that cinematic, and a lot of people did, you can hear the performance for Garrosh, and like the voice actor's like voice like it cracks and breaks. Like that's the first time Garrosh through his emotion. Like grrr, shows emotion and actually shows like sadness and is upset. Really cool. And then
that you can obviously. Oh, didn't they do some script reading shit at BlizzCon as well?
Yeah, they did. They did the some of the cinematics they made, like the one with Saurfang and Anduin when Saurfang is in Stormwind Prison.
I mean that is pure nerd service, obviously.
Absolutely.
I was just gonna say
is gonna be happening, like an online version of BlizzCon is gonna be happening. Oh, they also did a fucking live performance of Laura Bailey singing the Jaina song from the Warbringers cinematic.
Right.
Very cool.
Okay.
Very cool. But BlizzCon is happening in February, like an online BlizzCon.
Yep.
So, and this is the first time that you don't have to buy a digital pass to get access to all the content. They're like, with what's going on in the world, everything is going to be free
that's kind of cool.
to consume, which is very cool because they always do like a World of Warcraft, what's next panel, and like the voice actors of Warcraft and this and that. So I'll definitely be watching that. It's very cool. It's very cool.
So, you talked about fucking Garrosh dying. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of things that Blizzard loves doing, or like the writers love doing, right? Mm-hmm. And like that moment like their tropes, where like
they're very
a big bad is defeated, and like in their dying moments, there's some kind of like redemption or like reveal. For example, Arthas being killed, and like you kind of see actual Arthas for a second,
Actual
right?
Arthas, yeah.
Garrosh dying and kind of
I'll link
revealing
you.
a little bit of
I
emotion to
don't think
Thrall.
you've seen that cinematic, but I'll link it to you after podcast.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
worth
yeah,
the watch.
sure.
It's really cool.
Blizzard do love the thing is that they know how to use them, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? They have a lot of these characters that, rather than introducing new character after new character, they just like keep expanding on the stories of the same characters, and at some point they can't be perfect. At some point they have to have some sort of downfall or has some sort of arc.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, because like, look at Sylvanas, for instance, how long Sylvanas
yeah.
has been going on. It's cool to see, because typically, when a game has lasted for 16 years now, like obviously you're gonna see some characters go and new people be introduced, but to see like Sylvanas, Thrall, very like Anduin Wrynn, but Varian until Legion, characters that have been in core Warcraft lore, Jaina Proudmoore have been in core Warcraft lore since Warcraft.
Well, so I was gonna say about
still
Uther.
Be relevant and important to the.
It's
to the
interesting
story currently.
that like
cool.
Uther's bad guy arc is in the fucking afterlife. You know, like
yeah.
He really was like servant of the light.
Oh, but that's gonna be a really cool thing though. A hidden cutscene has been leaked, which reveals quite a lot, so don't watch it if you don't want to massive plot spoilers.
Okay.
Good shouts. Good to know.
Good to know.
Good to know, Para.
But
can't wait to have that in my
Uther's-
recommended on YouTube and be spoiled by the thumbnail.
Uther's bad guy streak is kind of like coming out in the Shadowlands, but it's also like one of the most understandable like bad guy streaks in the history of Warcraft, when it's like,
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's not even like Uther didn't choose that, right? He basically got forced onto this bad guy path by Devos or whatever.
he was already there, you know, like Devos gave him a push, but he was already like,
yeah, because he doubted,
vengeful.
and then
yeah,
Devos like, take your vengeance, and he's like, no, this isn't vengeance, this is justice. But he still lets go of Arthas and tosses him into the maws, like.
right, yeah, exactly.
But it's gonna be so cool
also,
to get more in depth on that.
fucking Tyrande, dude. What? We haven't seen Tyrande. She jumped in. Have we seen her?
No.
She just fucking jumped in there, and everyone was like, whoa! Because she wants to kill
she's kinda
Sylvanas.
just gone now.
Is she gonna be there? Is she gonna kill Sylvanas? I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, dude, she burnt down Chaldashore, bro. If anyone has the right to kill Tyrande, it's fucking, or kill
Sylvanas is Tyrande, right?
It's fucking Tyrande,
and that's why she was there to kill fucking Nathanos as well. Like, yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favorite fucking WoW
Yeah,
cutscenes of
that
all
shit
time,
was
dude. Holy
badass
shit.
and
It is
super
so
well
fucking
done.
cool.
And
Because like Tyrande used to be this, like, up until Legion was like this, I'm hopeless without Malfurion, like this, like very just.
yeah, wasn't there like some
wah.
weird love triangle as well with like Malfurion, Tyrande, and
Illidan? Yeah.
Illidan? Because
Yeah. But like basically, when Malfurion got fucked up, like got hurt or whatever in battle, and Darkshore got taken over by the Horde in the BFA pre-patch.
Yeah.
She goes through this ritual which made her the Night Warrior, which is basically she's Batman. Like she basically what she did was, normally Elune is very like good and great and powerful and kind.
Yeah.
She basically tapped into the dark side of the moon, literally. There was like a moon, what do you call them?
Eclipse?
A lunar eclipse, there you go. And that gave her the chance to do a ritual for her to tap into the dark side of the moon, which made her this Night Warrior, this very powerful fighting, kick-ass machine. And she has been since, and that's how she kills Nathanos. She is the Night Warrior now, and she's doing a lot of shit that Tyrande. And there's like a little bit of like stipulations already.
Is that right?
Tyrande Whisperwind,
Yeah.
Where Jaina is like, when you get to Jaina in the intro quest to the mall, I have this fresh in the brain because I just replayed it. Jaina like says something along the lines of like, that she's worried about Tyrande because it looks like she can no longer control the Night Warrior side of her.
Right.
But yeah. Is there a Druid law implication that suggests Cumhoove, a Druid lore implication that suggests Cumhoove doesn't use his defensive? I need to look into that. I'm not sure. Archdruid Cumhoove, obviously being.
I meant to get into this because I asked you what your favorite moment
character
was, right? And then we just get on another fucking tangent. So, obviously, for me, my favorite sort of experience so far in the expansion has been the dungeons. I am absolutely, like, bowled over actually, by how much fun these dungeons are, okay? Theater of Pain is it's like a boss gauntlet.
It's like a Wild Hold, essentially. From what I
Yeah,
understand.
but more entertaining because it's like you've got the guy shouting over the top like, "God, in the blue corner!" Like, you know, it's just cool.
Oh, dude, is it those same guys? Is it the same NPCs from like all the other arena quests that do like the fucking troll and the goblin or whatever?
No, it isn't.
Oh, fuck.
It's the guy from, you know, Theater of Pain. That you start off in Theater of Pain, whatever. There's a dude yelling over the top, and it's just cool. It's just the bosses are cool. Some fairly unique mechanics, like I mentioned earlier. So there's like 2 DPS get thrown down into an arena and have to fight each other. It's just a cool fucking dungeon. Spies of Ascension, really fucking cool.
Yet.
Spies of Ascension is the first one that we did heroic, and the first one that we did mythic for that reason. Okay. I want to get this out of the way because what we always complained about in BFA dungeons was those mechanics where you have a mob that will just like jump to the back on whether it's a ranged DPS or a healer and like attack. They'll do an attack in place on that point, or they will just attack for no reason and then run back to the tank and you can't taunt them or anything. In this expansion, it feels like there's a lot more just general damage. So, especially with bosses, where it's like everyone in the party is going to take a bunch of damage. And although, you know, regardless of aggro or whatever, there are these enemies that jump away, but a lot of them are like, these ghouls, they'll jump to one person, attack once, move back to the tank, and like, that's all well and good. But there's just a lot of like, everyone's got a fucking debuff and everyone's taking damage, or like everyone, plague holes. Is it plague holes? What's it called? Is that right?
Plaguefall?
Plaguefall. There is a boss that summons a fucking bomb, a slime, that if you don't kill it, will explode and literally wipe your party, for example. He also summons slimes that just attack the DPS. Like, there's just a lot going on, and it seems like there's a lot more that's like, rather than just ignoring
Just making
aggro.
me looking at my Twitch chat.
Yeah, just don't look. Rather than just mobs that ignore aggro, it's like, okay, the healer's got to stay on top of a lot of like party-wide damage and stuff, but it's just, there's some fucking cool mechanics. My favorite one so far, the last boss of Spies of Ascension, it is Devos, and she's fighting the Paragon that's there, and she has the spear. So she has the spear of the Paragon, and at one point in the fight, like, she seems very benign. She does a couple of different things. She blows up the entire party, which on Mythic will wipe you. Like, I'd never even noticed the mechanic before, but on Mythic, you all die. So she summons a bomb, and you all have to run into this shield that the Paragon creates, and that protects you. But that's really the
I
only
think I was watching your stream last night. I was just after I hosted you. You were like, "Oh, there's a bubble. I didn't even notice," or some shit like that.
Yeah, we all died, and then we were like, and then one person was like, "Oh yeah, get in the bubble," and I was like,
"Yeah, Lou told you to get in the bubble."
That's
and you were like,
what that
bubble?
mechanic is. Yeah, because we'd done it before and like never even been concerned about it. But there's a phase where when she's taking enough damage, she puts the spear down and she flies into the sky and starts trying to like gust you off the platform. And as these gusts are coming, these like patches of gamer gunk are like drifting over. If one of you touches the gamer gunk, everyone in the party gets a little dot. Like, so there's a lot of those mechanics like that, and you have to suck up these balls of anima. You have to suck the balls and deliver them to the spear, and then one person in the party picks up the fucking spear and yeets it at her to get her back on the platform. And I just thought that was really fucking cool. Like, a lot of mechanics where it's like it takes a second to really grasp it, and when you know how it is, it's just cool and fun. And same again in The Other Side, the last boss of The Other Side. Fucking
The Other Side.
The adventure guide explains it terribly. It's not a great fight, but there's this interesting mechanic where he's like about to blow all your asses up, and one Samdi comes in and summons these portals, and you teleport away.
One Samdi, dude.
You teleport away, you kill these other little bosses, and that's the hardest part, is like you have to divide up like who's gonna go fight these other bosses. because you have to be able to kill him. And then when you kill him, you activate a totem. One Samdi comes through and fucking destroys the homie. Like, it was just cool. It just these cool mechanics, interesting bosses, challenging boss fights.
So I think, looking at the time, we're gonna have to slowly start wrapping up.
Very soon. I have one last thing to say.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Para fucking flame if you're not using my defensive. So Para's always like, oh, you just seem to take like way more damage than like a rob. But I'm confident that as Guardian Druid, I will obviously take more damage than a warrior, but have way more self-heals and, in general, big defensive cooldowns.
I mean, I don't know. Warriors could heal
in
50% of their own health. Yeah, because they have Victory Rush / Impending Victory, which just heals you for 20 to 30% of your health. Just boom, like that.
Right.
And then if you activate a certain ability and then use your Bloodthirst, that's another 20% heal. So they can heal like 50% of their own health whenever the fuck they want to, over the span of like 5 seconds, instantly. Like, it's separated over 2 attacks, but it's just like attack 1, 20%.
Yeah, but I have...
Activate buff, attack 2, another 20%.
What is it? It's called Savage Roar or something. 30% heal, 2 charges of a 30% heal, plus Renewal, which is instant 30% heal. Like, it's a good time. It's a good time. I do have more self-heals than a warrior. And
yeah, you're a fucking druid.
Yeah, right. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, listen, Para, okay?
Oh, fuck. Yeah?
That's it.
Okay. So, TLDR, this has been the Shadowlands is out and we're all having a great time podcast. TLDR, Shadowlands so far... story-wise, really fucking solid. Dungeons are super cool. The endgame mechanics and grinds seem very varied and very cool. So far, dude, I'd have to say that it is a very good expansion.
Yes. Yes.
I loved Legion when it came out, and I hold Legion as like the best expansion since Wrath of the Lich King. And so far, dude, if they don't fuck it up, this expansion might be on the same level as Legion for me. Like, if they keep this up and stay consistent with it, we're in for a really good fucking Anton did not have his level 50 talent selected until yesterday.
His level 50 talent's inactive, it wasn't on his bar.
Anton? Oh, yo, guild meeting after this? Everyone but Anton? We have to talk.
I want to say, though, man's still pumped without it. So, I mean, credit where credit's due, I guess. It's an active that gives him plus 30% critical rating. He just didn't have it.
That's a pretty big cooldown to have, sir.
Oh, can't time me 30%? Out on the podcast.
God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thanks everyone for listening and watching.
Thanks for watching and listening. This will be up on YouTube throughout next week.
Next week, we're going to have a guest. He's called Freest. He's a nerdcore rapper. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but I just love to get to know the guy. He seems like a dope homie, so fuck it. You know, why not? Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to be ending stream here, and I'm going to play Shadowlands for the rest of the night. Smile.